Guys. So, since today is my birthday, I think it's time to talk about a couple of movies I've always meant to talk about, but I keep pushing off for some reason. Hell, I actually meant to do this earlier this week, but I pushed it off. Anyway, the Del Toro directed Hellboy films. Based on the comic series of the same name, it focuses on a demon nicknamed Red, who was brought onto Earth during World War II by a Nazi occult, but is then taken in by one of the people of the BPRD. Sorry, I forgot his name. The the doctor academic that took in Hellboy as his own son. But anyway, over the years, he's joined the BPRD and helped fight paranormal monsters from attacking humanity. So Del Toro directed two films based on this comic book series, and much like this video, I've meant to read Hellboy, but I've never actually found the time to do so. Hopefully that'll change one day. But we've got 5 rounds of this, and in preparation for the what I've heard is an abysmally awful Hellboy reboot, let's talk about the good Hellboy films. Round 1, Supporting Cast. Supporting cast, we've got in the first film, who appear in the second film, Liz, a human woman that has pyrokinetic abilities, Abe, a fish monster that is very intelligent and sophisticated and also lives with and helps the BPRD. John Myers, a new member of the BPRD working with Red. And we've got Hellboy's foster dad. Sorry, I can't remember that guy's name. I know I should. He's played by John Hurt. So I'm just going to call him John Hurt. And then we've got George Bluth as the BPRD director. Yeah, I know he has an actual character name. I'm calling him George Bluth. So these are the people that are in the first film. Most of these people carry into the second film with the exception of John Hurt's character, who tragically dies in the first film. Spoiler alert. In the second film, he's replaced with Johann, I believe his name is. He's a German scientist person that's made completely out of mist, smoke, ectoplasma, something like that, and is contained within this scuba-like suit that keeps him in like one humanoid-like body so that he can actually help out with the team. And that's the main set of Hellboy supporting cast characters. With the first film, actually, really, with both these films, supporting cast is pretty solid with both, with really only one character change. But I really like John Hurt's character and the relationship he did have with Hellboy, aka Red, in the first film. And Johann is a good addition in the second film. But I'm leaning towards the first Hellboy film, so let's give it to that one. Now let's move on to round 2, the villains. The villain of the first film is Rasputin. Yes, that Rasputin, who was there trying to summon I think he was there trying to summon Hellboy during World War II with the Nazi occult. But either way, in the modern era, he's resurrected by a couple of more henchmen-like people, and Rasputin begins the process of, again, trying to bring about the end of the world by letting all these space demonic entities come to our world by using Hellboy's right fist of doom. The villain of the second film is the Prince Elf Nuada. I'm calling him the Prince Elf. Or the Elf Prince, that makes more sense. The Elf Prince is the most recent person of a long lineage of royal elf royalty. Redundant. He doesn't like that the more magical beings like the elves have to live in the forest in secrecy from human civilization, a species that he believes is killing the earth, killing their kind, getting rid of magic in the world. And so he's on a quest to find the Golden Army, an army that was created all the way back then that the elves were going to use to kill the humans, but the king back then regretted the choice to do this, so he ended up making a truce with the humans and put the Golden Army to rest. So he's on a quest to reform the crown that will let him command the Golden Army. Now, obviously, with these two films, they have similar end of days plans. With Rasputin, it's a little bit more generic. The apocalypse for apocalypse's sake. I can't quite remember why he wants to bring about the apocalypse. My guess is that he serves like one of these space demonic creatures. Or I remember him turning into a space demonic creature, so I guess that's why he wants to bring the end of the world to Earth. But with the Prince Elf, you actually get to feel for him because he does have honestly, a well-intentioned plan that's, well, okay, maybe not well-intentioned, but you'll understand where he's coming from. He's a little bit less like Obadiah Stone from Iron Man, and more like Killmonger from Black Panther in that sense. And he does ultimately affect the characters and Red in the second film a little bit more than Rasputin did. So I'm giving this round to Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Now let's move on to round 3, which is special effects. They're awesome in this film. I mean, there is obviously CGI used, but the focus is on practical effects and makeup and costumes, and they look awesome. Hellboy looks awesome. Abe Sapien, wow. Honestly, if you're looking for great, more modern day practical effects, it doesn't get much better than whatever comes from Del Toro. Now, of course, this is again a very close one, similar to supporting cast, because there's really not that much difference between the two. While the Golden Army is certainly more CGI, they still look pretty cool. But I'm sorry, I guess what tips this for me is the Angel of Death in the second film. I mean, that's just a really interesting and unique look for the Angel of Death in the second film. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Point goes to Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Now let's move on to round 4, the atmosphere of the film. The atmosphere of the second film is, similar end of days kind of situation, trying to stop like this Golden Army from being resurrected and from wiping out humanity. So it's a little bit more. And in the first film, it's a similar end of days plot, but they treat it a little bit differently. The second film, it is a little bit more out in the open, a little more, and it does make it clear it's a little bit more bigger and grander, and treats it like something similar to what you might see in one of the Avengers films in terms of impact and influence that it's have on society and the people that react to it. But the first film, it is trying to stop this guy from ending the world, but it treats it more like hunting down like a escaped fugitive or a serial killer. Because while it is like the ultimate goal to destroy the world, bring about the apocalypse, it treated more like it's hunting down an escaped fugitive that they can't let the public know about, which is a little more interesting take and approach to this kind of scenario, especially for a comic book film. And you do feel that it's a little more intimate and that you do get to know these characters pretty well, a little bit more than you probably would in some other origin films. With that said, point goes to the first one. Now let's move on to the 5th and final round, story. Now I've already talked about this before, but the story of the first film is that after years of being raised and working with the BPRD, Hellboy, aka Red, discovers that Rasputin has been resurrected and wants to continue his plan of destroying the world. And so he's going to find a way to get Hellboy to come to him and use him to use his right fist of doom to unleash the door that will unleash the space demonic creatures that will come forth and bring about the apocalypse. The second film story, as I mentioned earlier, is that the elf prince is trying to resurrect the Golden Army so that he can attack and get rid of humanity because he doesn't want humanity to destroy and kill the Earth, their species, and magic altogether. And so Hellboy and his team have to find him, grab the pieces before he does, or at the very least, stop him from using this Golden Army to go through with his plan. Similar stories, slightly different approaches. few different themes. The first film, it's really about destiny, and that while people are destined to do these certain things, like Hellboy being destined to bring about the apocalypse, you don't have to really go through with that destiny just because someone says you have to. You can make your own decisions, and you can decide for yourself what you want to do. And it's a similar theme in the second film, but explores things a little bit deeper. It has less to do with destiny and more focus on free will and choice. Like, okay, what happens when you do go through the choices you do make? How does that affect the world, the people in the world around you, and how would other people react to that? There is a little bit more focus on like that side of things than the first film. And you can see that with how the elf radicals are reacting to human civilization just existing and doing what it does. And it's just a little bit more interesting to go through with this actually discovering, okay, you can break free from destiny, but what happens if you make the wrong choice or the choices you make end up doing some pretty bad things in the aftermath? Which is a little more interesting approach and analysis in this kind of comic book film. So with that being said, I'm giving this one to the second film. So the winner is Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Hey, wore a yellow shirt for this. Nice. So, even though I do prefer The Golden Army, both Hellboy and Hellboy 2, The Golden Army are great, amazing, very well done, unique comic book films that I really think you should check out. Unfortunately, I'm going to go see the new Hellboy reboot. Please, please don't be as bad as I hear it is. That's all I have to say right now. Like, comment, subscribe, share. See you next time.